What's up guys, welcome back in Next Studios, and today I'm going to show you how I make my mastering. Before beginning this video, I have to advise you that if you notice some delays when you play the track or play the video, it is because of the latency. Sometimes when I use a lot of plugins into one chain, it comes to have a big latency, and I'm just trying to solve it, but it's not so easy. So let's dive into the project. In this case, I'm going through the master of my edit of Hypnotic Tango by My Mind, which sounds like this. As you can see, the waveform is very thin because I've exported the final mix to put it into the project. Usually I do all my mastering stuff into the project itself, but this time I wanted to export the project and the file so I can work directly on another project without messing up with other stuff. So this is my master chain. Now all the plugins are shut down, and we have here a BX meter at the end and a spectrum, which I'll come to them later. Then we start with the simple EQ, this time with the FabFilter Pro Q3. That is something like this. I just cut the lows around 30 Hz here, and then the highs around 20,000. So you avoid the things to go too harsh and too muddy. Then I use another EQ, the second instance, that is the TR5 Master EQ. I like to use this preset here called Presence Peak 8K Hertz. So kind of enhance the mid and the side somewhere here. In the mid you can see that it increases the 8,000 Hertz. Then in the side part it increases the 17,000 Hertz. So it kind of adds some harsh feeling that sometimes you miss into the mix. So let's see without this plugin, then with this plugin. You see all the high drums start to shine. Then I'm going here to the exciter, which I put immediately after. The exciter enhances some bands that you want to distort a little bit during the mastering. So for this kind of track I choose the gentle tape here. You can see there's the amount of the saturation and the mix, so you can go full 100% or just doing a half. So let's see in full effects what it does to the highest part of the track, which is from 6,000 Hertz to the end. Let's see in full effect. Okay, as you can see, it increases a lot the high frequencies. I just go for 2.5, then almost no distortion on the mid bass, just a bit here in this area, just to give a little bit of dynamics. Then a little bit more into this area, which I like to sound very dynamic. Okay, let's see the result before and after. That's really nice. You don't need too much in these sections here. There's just some kind of tricks that maybe you can already fix in the mix, but sometimes I feel like it's missing something. So I'm going to separate the bands for the imaging, and this time I use the Isotope Ozone 9 imager. You can use anything that you want, but I love this because it separates the things into band. It's really quick and immediate to use. In this case, I'm going all down with the lows, so this part before all the 100 Hertz, you can hear it all in mono. So this is a very important part because this is kind of avoid to have the muddiness that you may find into your mix. You can just fix it just putting all in mono. Then for the other parts, I just leave it like this because I don't like too much things to shine overall at both of my ears. So I just add a little bit here on the highs. As you can see from the polar sample here, if I'm going mono, it's playing like this, but I'm trying to do a little bit wider. And also with my high mids, but you need very, very little, because in this case, the overall mix was flawless, so I didn't need something else to increase the stuff. Then let's move on with the compression. Before going into this, I have to tell you that the compression is optional. It's not something that you need to do, because sometimes in your mix you can avoid some peaks that in this case I had, so especially when I did the drop. But if you can avoid it in the mix, you don't need the compression at all. So let's see how I made it. In this case, I used like in most of my tracks, I used the SSL compressor from Waves. It's a very, very good compressor here. I'm just going through the presets mastering, which allows me to have already a good ratio, and I use, maybe this time I can use it 2:1, which means that every signal that is going up to 2 is going back to 1 decibel instead. Let's try with 4 before I have the full try. So let's play the drop now with the compressor on. Okay, it stands between 3 and 4, which is the correct way. So I'm going to lower a little bit of the threshold here. Okay, now it's going very good. I can also play with the attack and the release because it's very important. It's all in the attack and the release. I'm playing with it maybe at 1 millisecond, which means that the compressor immediately starts to do his functions. Maybe it's a little bit too much. I'm going back to 3. For the release, there are multiple ways to see which kind of release you can use. Now I rather be in automatic version because I'm already satisfied of what it's doing. Let's see overall. Yeah, I can go a little bit up with the threshold. Yeah, maybe at 8. In my particular view, it doesn't have to go beyond this part here. So I'm going to compress it, avoid the peaks going up there. And then I'm going to add a little bit of makeup, which is 3 decibels right now. I'm going up to 3.5. Then let's see, before and after. It sounds so much glued. Maybe because of the difference between this part of the break and the part of the drop. Now the levels are going back to be kind of compared, you know. It sounds really, really nice to me with this compression. Then I can move on with another compression, but this time is a linear multiband compression from Waves. It's a linear phase, and I use pretty much the same presets. That is this one, multi-electro mastering, that it kind of gives some color into the mix. So let's see before and after. Yeah, it gives that kind of saturation and color I needed. And if I want, it's not this case, but if I want to lower the low ends here, I can just go down with the threshold in a way that the peaks cannot go up to this measure here. So let's see, for example, how it sounds. So let's see how it's going while I'm going down with the threshold. So as you can see, if you notice that in your mix the overall lows are too high, you can do this, or otherwise you can go back in the mix and fix it, but sometimes you just need a little bit less, and then it's very useful to do this with the linear phase multiband compressor. The only thing I've changed here is a little less of the output, so I'm going minus 0.5. Then it comes better to our next plugin, which is the TR5 Classic Clipper. That is basically the thing that increases your volume to get the track sounds as high in volume as the professional tracks. Let's see how I make these kind of tricks, because I'm not only using the clipper, but I'm using alongside a BX meter, so I can measure where my peak, my RMS are going, and also how my dynamics is going into the track overall. So I'm going to play the track and then tweak the buttons. The only button I'm going to change is this one, which is the main output. So the track must sound at minus 0.1. Then basically I can go up with the gain as much as I want, as much as it's going to saturate, but I have a reference which is the level of the RMS, which is going to be around -4, -3 at a time. So let's see what happens when I'm going up with the volume here. So I'm settled at 7.3, which is the correct measure. As you can see, if I play it, the RMS will go up to -4. Yeah, it's very good. Now I can decide if I can turn the slope very soft or very hard. I just kind of want to sit in the mid, maybe a bit of harder things here. Let's see how we change the sound. Yeah, it's good enough. I can just go up of 0.4 decibels in the gain. Yeah, that's really nice. Basically the mastering is done, but I would like to add some other things that you can do in the mix, but I rather do in the mastering process, because it has all the sounds overall to have processed with this plugin, which is the dim set is free, and it's very good because it allows me to go mono when the build-ups are coming. So I'm going to do a little automation here, especially in the latest part of the build-up, from here to immediately before the drop. So I'm going down of maybe -5.5, I like it. And the overall track is going mono, then it will explode in stereo. So let's see the effect of this. Yeah, I really love this effect. I put it into all my build-ups, and what I need to do is copy this automation here into the next build-up, is here. And it's done. Let's see the spectrum, if the track is good enough, is sounding good enough, and obviously it sounds professional enough. It is going to peak around -6 in the spectrum, so let's see. You see, that's perfect. And that's it, the track is almost done. We just have to export, send it to the labels, and get signed. As you can see, mastering is not too complicated. Sometimes I have clients that says, maybe you can fix it with the mastering because I'm not able to do this. It's not completely correct. What you have to do correct is the mix. If you have a correct mixing of the track, the mastering will be. Otherwise, you have always to go back and check if your mix is good. If something is not good with the mastering, so go back, check again what you have done, and then let's go back to the mastering and finish the track. And that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. More will come in the next week, but in the meantime, go subscribe to our channel and see you soon. Ciao!